an aircraft model that our viewer has requested, and a die-cast manufacturer that we haven't looked at before. Now in my books that sounds like a great review. And with that, hello and welcome to a new episode of Review, where we today will take a closer look at an Embraer ERJ-145 of American Airlines / American Eagle. At the front of the box we have the American Eagle branding, and underneath that we have a rendition of the aircraft. The backside of the box doesn't offer as much other than the American Eagle branding, and still it is a better box design than anything Herpa currently has to offer. And here is the Embraer ERJ-145 in the former standard livery of American Eagle. The aircraft model itself was made by Skyliners 500 back in 2002. So with that, let's take a closer look at the aircraft model itself to see what it has to offer and to see what Skyliners was able to do at the beginning of the 2000s. So let us start our tour around the aircraft model with a look at the tail section, where we on the vertical stabilizer find the American Airlines / American Eagle branding and the flag of the United States of America. On the fuselage we then have the full registration code of the aircraft, and towards the very tail of the aircraft we have a bit of detailing around the APU exhaust. On the Embraer ERJ-145 the engines are of course placed at the back of the fuselage, so the engine nacelles we can see here have been kept in all white, but do carry the RJ or regional jet branding of American Eagle and have the silver leading edge printed on as well. The physical detailing itself is actually surprisingly good when we consider how old this aircraft model is, and especially also how tiny this model is. Following the blue, white and red cheat line at the front of the aircraft and across the fuselage we have the writing of American Eagle, and we find the regional jet branding. In the red cheat line we then have a little white marking. I do believe this could be the name of the operator of the aircraft, which in this case was Express Jet Airlines, but I'm not entirely sure. If you know, let me know in the comment section below. The detailing around the cockpit section is rather scarce. It has the cockpit windows and that's about it. However, I do quite like the mold here around the cockpit section. I think Skyliners has done rather well with that. Then we can see here on the fuselage, just above the wings, we have the emergency exit printed on, which leads us straight to the wings, which we of course also should take a closer look at. Starting off with the top side, where we can see the different flaps. Stats and spoilers have been carved out, although they are barely noticeable. But we do have the marking for the emergency exit. That is a rather nice detail. The underside is, however, rather underwhelming in my opinion. However, there is actually a little highlight here, and that is the addition of the landing lights, which have been printed on. That is very nice. When we then look at the landing gear, well, that is rather basic. However, I do think, especially considering the size of the aircraft model, that Skyliners actually has done a pretty decent job with it. A curious detail that you perhaps already have noticed is that on the belly of the aircraft we have a hole in the fuselage for a stand, which was not included with this aircraft model. But obviously I did not buy this aircraft model new, so I can't tell you if in 2002, when the aircraft model was new with retailers, would have come with a stand or not. And then last but not least, underneath the engine nacelle we find this little cargo hatch has been printed on as well. So there we have it, the Embraer ERJ-145 in the former standard livery of American Eagle from Skyliners 500 in scale 1:500. And what can we say about this aircraft model? Obviously, we do not encounter a plethora of details on this aircraft model, but we have to consider it is an Embraer ERJ-145, which in scale 500 becomes rather tiny. And of course, the model is also from 2002, which we have to take into consideration when we want to determine whether this is a good aircraft model or not. And I would argue that it is, because even if the model had been released just like that in 2021, I would actually be quite happy with it. That obviously doesn't mean that there isn't room for improvement. They could have added some window wipers at the cockpit windows or some printed details at the front landing gear. But the overall package, the aircraft model, the details we get compared with the size of the model, I think is a very decent standard. So if you like the Embraer 145 or the former standard livery of American Eagle, then I would say yes, absolutely, it is an aircraft worth having in one's collection. Now with that, we have reached the end of today's episode. If you have enjoyed this video, then don't forget to leave a like, that would be very much appreciated. And of course, if you are new around here, why not hit subscribe, that would be absolutely awesome. With that, I'd like to say thank you very much for watching, hope to see you soon again. I'm checking out, and bye.